What's up, folks? Welcome to Loro and Friends Inside the NFL. My name is Loro Antonio, and today Ben Kirst and myself will be recapping the Patriots and Titans Week 12 showdown. I mean, last week the Patriots continue to keep winning bowl games, and to me, I really think that the Patriots could be back in first place alone, and I think that they have a big game coming up against the Buffalo Bills we'll get to, and Ben Kirst is with me to break down the action. So, Ben, how's it going?
Doing good, Loro. How are you?
Doing great. But before we get into any football stuff, some sad news to just pass along. Pro Football Hall of Fame defensive end Claude Humphrey has passed away today at the age of 77 as he passed away unexpectedly last night. Claude Humphrey was a Hall of Fame defensive end. He played for the Atlanta Falcons from 1968 to 1978, and then he finished his career with the Philadelphia Eagles from 1979 to 1981. So thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And Claude Humphrey was a Pro Football Hall of Famer in 2014, and it's a sad loss for the NFL and the Hall of Fame.
Definitely, yeah. It's just prayers sent out to him and his family.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Patriots are first place alone for the moment. They're going to take on the Buffalo Bills. And if the Patriots win, they're going to be 2 games up of first place. We're going to get to that in a minute. So talk about the Patriots doing their job and taking advantage of the opportunities they needed to beat a shorthanded Tennessee Titans team. But I'll tell you, the Tennessee Titans are still in first place. But the Titans still have one of the easiest remaining schedules down the stretch.
Yeah, it felt like that game was it felt like forever ago. Now it's obviously Saturday. We've usually been doing our shows Tuesdays, but the last couple weeks we've been doing them Saturdays. So it feels like it's a little bit later than usual. But that was a good win. It's obviously without Henry and Julio Jones and AJ Brown, so the Patriots did get a little fortunate, but the Titans kept it close, and it was a lot with their running game. The Patriots really struggled in this game against the run. I'll be curious to see if they'll do a lot better than they did this past Sunday. With the rushing attack from Buffalo, which I think is sneaky good. The way that kind of showed me last week against a good Saints team, Saints defense at least. But I got to say that Mac Jones, with the 300-plus game, his first one, he made some timely throws. The defense continues to play really well in terms of the turnover differential. The Patriots have been one of the best teams in that. So, and then obviously special teams. Nick Folk was a huge component in this game. Made some big kicks, and the Titans really kept it close until that fourth quarter, and the Titans really just fell apart. The turnover that Tannehill had on the fourth down, the interception that J.C. Jackson had, that really kind of, if anything, gave no more hope to the Tennessee Titans, especially with the way the Patriots kind of handled business after. But like I said, Loro, it's at home. They've been struggling earlier part of the season at finishing at home with some of these losses they had early on at Gillette. But they've definitely played a lot better, not only at Gillette, but just in general. And they're rolling right now. They're still in first place, but obviously first place is going to be on the line for this first time around matchup out of 2 in a span of 3 weeks against the Buffalo Bills, which should be a big matchup that we'll be talking about after this one.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about the Bills in just a minute here. So talking about players of the game for this game, I'll go first with my offensive player of the game. And I'm going to give it to 2, Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne. And I say Kendrick Bourne is in this one is because Kendrick Bourne made a terrific catch on the white chalk to get the touchdown. He made the catch of the game there.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne had a big game. He's had a really sneaky good season. Really good after the yards after the catch. Great energy. Guys love him in the clubhouse, and he just comes in day out, plays hard. Love what Kendrick Bourne's been doing all year. Mac Jones has just been absolutely, killing it the last couple weeks. Uh, he didn't throw any interceptions, any forced fumbles that he had on himself. So he kept the ball out of harm's way. So I got to give it to him for one of my players of the game. Other player of the game I thought was the offensive line. The offensive line I thought did a great job. On defense, I got to say, Christian Barmore, Kyle Duggar, and J.C. Jackson, a lot of the guys. The secondary, obviously, Barmore and guys still doing their jobs at the front. So it was a great kind of all around win for the Pats, and they're gonna have to try to do another one on Monday.
Yeah, and then after Monday, we're going to do a special Patriots bye week recap show. So basically, for our next show, we'll just talk about all Patriots, talk about them in the first 13 weeks of the season, give them a report card, and then talk about what they need to do for the last 3 weeks of the season when they take on the Colts, the Bills, and then the Jags, and then the Dolphins. So that's basically going to be the next show that you and I do. So anyways, my defensive player of the game is, I'm going to give it to a guy that really has continued to get better each week, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to get better this week. And J.C. Jackson had a really, really solid game against Tennessee and making those interceptions. Almost had a pick six the other day as well.
Yeah, JC's played great. And he definitely is going to get paid. We'll see if the Patriots can keep him around.
As they should. Patriots should keep him. I don't want him to leave, though. I think the Patriots need to find a way to keep J.C. Jackson around, pay him, and go from there. So my special teams player of the game, Nick Folk, of course. But I also give it to Matthew Slater, too, as well, because Matthew Slater's down the ball pretty well here on special teams as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, yeah.
So anyways, let's talk about the AFC East standings. We'll take a look at that. So let's go to your players of the game for the Titans matchup for the Patriots before we get to the standings of the AFC East.
I already gave mine. I had Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, and then defense I had Matt Judon, and Jalen Mills.
And then you give Nick Folk the special teamers.
Yeah, I had other players of the game right before we just said it, but I'm going to give it to my other players of the game because they're just a bunch of them.
All right, so now let's take a look at the AFC standings real quick. The Patriots are 8-4. The Bills are 7-4. The Dolphins are 5-7, and the Jets are 3-8. So basically, the Bills and Patriots will be going head to head. The Dolphins will be taking on the Giants tomorrow. And then the Jets will take on the Philadelphia Eagles. But we had some news that no Jalen Hurts. That's a big loss for the Eagles. But hey, it's Minshew magic. Let's see if the Minshew man can step up to the plate and beat those New York Jets.
Yeah, that'll be quite something for sure, right?
I mean, he's not really a running quarterback like what Jalen Hurts is. I mean, what the Eagles are missing out of Jalen Hurts is his pocket presence. And Jalen Hurts can scramble out of the pocket. He can throw on the run and go from there. And as for the Jets, Zach Wilson is their future. I have no doubt in my mind that he's the future quarterback of the New York Jets. But the team right now needs to be better.
They do. I mean, the Jets just have a lot of holes. It's top to bottom. That it's going to be hard for them to kind of do all in 1 year. It's going to take some years to really kind of get their program back on track. They're definitely some flashes, but it's going to be a while.
And do you think that the Jets should fire Robert Saleh after the season? I'm going to say no.
No, he's been great. In terms of motivating for sure.
Yeah, I mean the players love him. I think the players will grow up to loving Robert Saleh, but I think it's going to take some time, you know.
I agree.
So, anyways, now let's talk about talk about some other news surrounding the New England Patriots. So let's take a look at the injury report now for between the Patriots and the Bills. So David Andrews is questionable with a shoulder injury. Christian Barmore has a knee injury. He's questionable, should play. Juwan Bentley is ribs, has a rib injury. He's questionable. Brandon Bolden has a knee injury. Trent Brown with a calf injury. Nick Folk has a left knee, but should be good to go. Gunnar Olszewski has an ankle injury. And then Ronnie Perkins has an illness. So for the Bills, no players listed as out, no listed players as doubtful. Cody Ford has a bicep injury. Reggie Gilman with an ankle injury. And Efe Odoba with a hip injury. So basically, the Patriots should have everybody should be good to go from the Patriots standpoint, though.
Yeah. Kyle Duggar being out would be big, though. He does a lot of what the Bills like to do, and that's throw deep. Allen loves to throw intermediate routes, so you put a couple safeties over the top, and Duggar would be a big loss for that.
And the question of the day is, we have a lot to talk about between the Patriots and the Bills. Do you think that this is going to be the game of the year for these teams?
I don't know about game of the year, but it's going to be up there in terms of one of the most entertaining games of the season.
I was looking at the weather forecast. It's supposed to be raining in Buffalo pretty much the whole day, but it's going to clear up by the time we kick the ball up. But it is going to be one heck of a cold, cold night. And we thought that we were going to be getting snow in the forecast in Orchard Park.
That would have been fun, right?
Yeah, do you think you're going to see a high-scoring game between those two? Because both offenses are good. Or do you think it's going to be more about the defenses?
Yeah, so I think this is obviously a game I think that really bodes well for Bill Belichick. I think what they're going to try to do is kind of go the Colts plan and run it down their throats. I would be really shocked if they let Mac Jones throw a lot in this game, especially with the elements, if they have any. Going to Buffalo, really tough place. This is probably going to be the biggest road game, if anything. In terms of the Patriots, Bills fans are some of the most craziest, rowdiest fans out there. And, when the Patriots had a road games, whether it's the Jets, they really kind of had the home field. Texans, same thing. Carolina, kind of similar too. So really the Patriots, really haven't had that big test yet, to be fair, on the road. And this is going to be a big test in terms of opposing fans. But I think that the Patriots, they're going to do what they can to run it down their throats, win time possession, and create the turnover differential and win it. And if they do that, I think the Patriots have a good chance to win this game.
They do, but also some off-the-field news to talk about is that Mac Jones and Damien Harris were at Gillette Stadium. And I don't know if you saw this on Facebook. They were at an MIAA high school championship game at Gillette Stadium. So both buddies, both Mac Jones, Damien Harris. It's good that they just keep their minds on football.
Yeah, I was watching some of that online. They were streaming it. Yeah, I didn't see Mac Jones and Damien Harris on there, but it's good for them to really go out and watch, the community around New England. It's great, and the vibe with this team has been a lot of fun. It just seems like people really love each other. They're doing stuff together. They're always in it, and I think that really bodes well for the remainder of the year because the camaraderie is big not only on the field but off the field, and I think that's big, especially that the Patriots team has this year.
This Patriots team, that 1-4 start, were we worried? Somewhat, yes. But I knew that something was going to come together despite the Patriots 1-4 start to the season.
Absolutely. I don't know. Was it 1-4?
Yeah, it was that 1-4 start for the Patriots. It was that 2-4 start,
2-4, right. Yeah.
I was saying that something with this Patriots team after they started off 2-4 that I knew that something was going to come together.
Yep, which is great.
So forget 2020 of the Patriots because Cam Newton didn't fit our criteria and what we expected.
He's been a great overall around player for a long period of time. Great person in the locker room. I think the player just the fit wasn't there. And that's okay.
Yeah. I didn't think he was the right fit. That's why I was like, guys, we need to get Mac Jones to New England because He was a great quarterback out of Alabama. He was one of the Heisman Trophy finalists. I watched him play against Ohio State last year in the college football national championship game, and I really have. And I was like, he was going to be that next franchise quarterback for the Patriots. And I think that our future is so bright since Mac Jones has taken over the starting job.
Definitely, Mac's been a lot of fun, but obviously, he's obviously going to have his time with adversity as well. So we're going to have to obviously live with that for him as well as for a young guy.
We're gonna see the biggest test right now. So talk about some of our biggest takeaways from last week for the NFL. Like talk about some week 12. We got obviously really good Thanksgiving games, and obviously Seattle is in the downfall right now. They're 3-8, and also the Baltimore Ravens continue to be dominant as they are 8-3, beating the Baltimore Ravens. And which one was more of your biggest takeaway here? Was it the Washington football team beating the Seahawks 17-15, or the Ravens beating the Browns 16-10?
Man, the Ravens didn't really look that good when they beat the Browns. The Browns just really beat themselves. Lamar threw 4 interceptions and they still won. So that really just comes to show how much the Browns are really struggling. The Browns had basically everybody healthy. So they really don't have much of an excuse in terms of, if they just convert on 1 or 2 of those interceptions, they would have won the game. And then the Seahawks are out of sync. They're, I've never seen a team between Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll fall so much with all his talent. And I think Russell Wilson's all done there. It looks like he's checked out. And I think that, with all the stuff that, they were talking about this off season in terms of trying to get him some help, and it just seems like not much has really worked.
Yeah, nothing has worked with Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks here. And that was kind of like, I think Russell Wilson will stay with the Seahawks, but I want to see if Seattle can listen and that they can give him some offensive line help.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think he stays in Seattle, though?
No, I don't. No.
I think he stays. I think he's
on.
So, anyways, now we had I was looking at some future Patriots in the SEC championship game as Alabama and Georgia went head-to-head, Ben. So, do you think you would see John Mechie be a Patriot? I think he would want to pair with Mac Jones.
Yeah, Mechie actually, unfortunately, I think towards ACL, so prayers out to him because he's a stud. But he would be a lot of fun in our offense. And I think that the Patriots still really need that outside threat, in order for him to elevate the play, to elevate Mac Jones' game and obviously open up the playbook.
Would that be N'Keal Harry? Do you still have belief in him?
No.
What? Do you think he's a bust?
I wouldn't say he's a bust. I think, he could still block, but in terms of his playmaking abilities, I have no confidence with him. Just unfortunately, it's just not the case.
It's definitely not the case there. So, anyways, now we'll talk more about the Patriots and Bills game. It's going to be a Monday night game in Orchard Park, New York. The first time these two teams will be meeting this season. I kind of wish that the Patriots would play in Buffalo in September, because I think that playing in September in Buffalo is so much better than playing in Buffalo in December.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in December, it's going to be, hopefully after Christmas and Gillette, the place should be rocking. And even if they brought some snow, that would be even better.
Snowball 2.0, Snowball 3.0, and it would have been a 17-14 game. It could be kind of one of those games, but could you see this game being high scoring between the Patriots and the Bills?
It could. It very well could.
Yeah, this is like one of these games I was looking forward to, and I feel like that Mac Jones, Josh Allen going head to head, it's going to be something, Yep. And let's talk about who do you think's going to win? Do you think it's going to be the Patriots or it's going to be the Bills? I say Patriots when if it was snowing 17-14, since I checked the weather, it's not going to be snowing. Maybe 34-31 Patriots.
I'm going with the Bills. I think that the Patriots will play hard, but I think that the Bills, the Patriots are bound to have a bad game. They played so well for a long period of time. Does a bad game happen right before the bye? Possibly. Now, with all that the Patriots have in terms of gaining ground, that's been huge. But if the Patriots play well, they play ahead of their game. They play, execute well. They should still win. But I think that the Bills will win the close one for sure, and Patriots will come out on top. Patriots will unfortunately lose in a close one.
I'm going to say Patriots win 34-31 or 17-14, depending on these weather conditions in Buffalo in December. I mean, those fans are going to be wearing gloves, scarves, beanies, wherever in Orchard Park. And I'm telling you, if you're going to the game, bundle up.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get myself out to Buffalo for a game. That always seems like a really fun atmosphere to be at.
You've seen the Patriots and Bills live before, and in that game, that was Tom Brady's final regular season, one of Tom Brady's final regular season home games with the Bills.
Yeah, I've been to Patriots Bills a couple times at Gillette. Most of the games I think the Pats have won, but yeah, that was in terms of my most memorable game against Buffalo. That's without a doubt. That's without a doubt a top 2 Patriots game ever to see Brady's last win. Not only last win at Gillette, last win with the Patriots. So
actually, if you look at that season, what I hated the most was that Tom Brady.
I watched some history. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and then the one thing that I hated in that season was that Tom Brady went away with a loss against Tennessee in that wild card round, and I was like, you know what? He's got to stay. He's got to stay. But
yep.
He left us, and now he is in Tampa Bay. So the question is, this is a really good Super Bowl question. Would you want to see Brady and Belichick go head-to-head in the Super Bowl?
I would love it.
Would that be something?
I would love it. Feed me it because, they're both to be real at the end of their careers, and they've accomplished so much together. Brady's obviously won a Super Bowl with the Bucs already, and Bill and the Pats being in it against them. I think the storylines would be amazing. I think half of the NFL would hate it because they just can't stand a Bill or Brady in another Super Bowl. So I think it'd just be incredible. It would be tough to see Brady win on the other side if it happened that way. If Brady lost, obviously that's good for my team. But if Brady won, that'd also be crazy because he would be winning his eighth Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh!
Which it's just hard to fathom in terms of how many he has now. He just adds more of the hardware. It'd just be incredible. So, yeah, I would say yes to answer your question, but time will tell.
Yeah, and then we got breaking news in the college football world. Tom Brady's old school, the Michigan Wolverines, just won the Big Ten Conference.
Yeah, just that's obviously big for them, and
Let's talk about which current Patriots players that went to Michigan: Chase Winovich and Josh Uche. Those guys are dancing right now.
Yeah, I'd love to see Uche and Winovich actually play more, but
yeah, because they both played under Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's kind of a good question that you and I talked about. Like now with the season almost over, and that the Brady-Belichick Super Bowl would be kind of fun, but I wouldn't mind Patriots-Cardinals because Brady's first Super Bowl title came from an NFC West team. And I think Mac Jones' first Super Bowl championship could come from an NFC West team as well.
Yeah.
Or it could be from the NFC South or from the NFC North. Because I think so. When you talk about Patriots Bills, what would you like to see from this game? I mean, which one are you going to watch? The one with Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, Brian Griese, or are you going to watch the one with Monday Night Football, Peyton and Eli?
Griese. Yeah, I think Griese's. I mean, I like Peyton on a non-Patriot game for Monday night, but definitely I want to see just a regular one there.
Yeah, so talk about our keys to the game here. So what I like to see for the Patriots on defense, put pressure on Josh Allen. You gotta blitz him in order to beat Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
And for the offense, ground and pound, and also be aggressive on offense in the passing game. That's what I want to see, and that's all I have.
I think the keys to the Pats is to just play on top of your game, execute. Biggest thing, like I say, week by week. And I think for the Bills, they got to run the football. They're a very, very heavy pass team, especially with the elements. I think the biggest key for the Bills in order to win that game on Monday is Allen's going to have to really just dominate. And Bill Belichick has gotten the best of him most of the outings besides last game. And that was with the Patriots really having half of their defense hurt or just not playing. The Bills are going to have some reinforcements back on the offensive line. Their offensive best running back in the first matchup last year was Zach Moss. He was a healthy scratch last week. They actually started Matt Breida, and he played great. But the biggest thing for the Bills is, they can't play hero ball. Allen does like to do hero ball. So the Patriots get up ahead. The Bills are really a team that struggles when falling behind a lot. They're great when up, but if you get a couple scores on them, they're going to feel the pressure, I think. So I think that if you're the Pats, you've got to put the pedal to the metal early. And I have the Bills to win this game in a close one, but that's really only if it kind of goes back and forth. If the Patriots get a really lead in the head, I think the Pats will win.
They absolutely. Obviously, the fun fact is that the Patriots, however, have not lost since week 6 of the season. And the Patriots since then have won not once, not twice, not 3, not 4, not 5, but they're on a 6-game win streak. And they would like to extend it to 7 before the bye week.
Oh, for sure.
So we'll take a look at before we end it, let's take a look at the remaining schedule. So bye week is week 14, so they're gonna get a week off next week, so they can just enjoy their free time next Sunday with friends and family. Catch up on that, and then for the injured people, they can just go and rehab whatever they need to rehab. They'll play the Colts in week 15 on an NFL Network Saturday special, and
let's do a Loro Friends Patriots Saturday post game special. That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah, that would be so... I'm thinking about that, doing it after Patriots Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about doing a special that day, if looking at the schedule. And then week 16, the Patriots take on the Bills again. That's at 10 a.m., but that could be flexed to 1:25, and I'd like to see Jim Nantz and Tony Romo call that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 17, it's Urban Meyer versus Bill Belichick. And then week 18, they finish on the road with Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think the Pats will split the Bills, and then they'll win the Miami. I think they'll win the Miami game. I think they'll win the Jacksonville game, and I think they'll win the Colts game. So I think I have them at one or two more losses to finish out the rest of the year. I think they basically win the rest of their games there.
Yeah, I think so too. And Ben, so we're going to announce it right now. We're going to do a Loro and Friends special after Patriots Colts on Saturday.
Let's do it.
So that's the announcement there. You can catch Ben and I for our pregame show with the time to be determined at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll kind of do a brief recap of Week 15, and then we'll also be on the call, and then I'll be on the call for the Patriots and Colts game, and then back with you for the post-game show on StreamYard. So I was going to text you the details after the show ends.
Sure, let's do it.
So, anyways, that's kind of my final thoughts. So, Ben, I'll see you tomorrow on the Extra Point, the day before the big Patriots and Bills game.
Yeah. Before we finish off tonight, let's do quick, speedy NFL picks. I was gonna tell you this, Loro, but I think we're gonna do. This is gonna be kind of a fun segment. That I didn't mention you, but it's gonna be called Speedy Picks. And honestly, we go through game by game. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the games, obviously, tomorrow, the Extra Point. But and so in terms of the top of your mind, before we finish off, we're going to go just a week. We're going to go one by one. So let's go to Giants Dolphins. Who do you got?
I am going with Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins to beat Joe Judge and the New York Giants. It's going to be fun to see both of these two go head to head.
All righty, going with the Dolphins. Colts and the Texans, 1 o'clock. Who are you going with?
That's easy. That's the Colts.
Going with the Colts.
Because I think Carson Wentz, that offense is going to run all over Houston, and Houston is probably going to get shut out. Tyrod Taylor is about to get exposed.
Vikings, Lions. Who are you going with?
Detroit. Finally, they get their first win of the season.
Detroit's still winless. Eagles, Jets. Who are you going with?
The Eagles, 6-7 with Minshew, with Jalen Hurts out.
Going with the Jets. Cardinals, Bears. Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Arizona Cardinals. They're too good of a team, and I think the Bears are just flat right now.
Gonna go upset. Gonna go Chicago. Chargers, Bengals. Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Chargers in this game. I think Justin Herbert's going to get the best out of Joe Burrow.
Gonna go with Joe Burrow. Bucks, Falcons. Who are you going with?
I'll be calling that game tomorrow on Colorcast. Let's go with Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to beat Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. Those are two of the best elite quarterbacks here.
Brady's 9-0 against Atlanta. I'm going to go with 10-0 here. Jags, Rams. Who are you going with?
My hometown LA Rams. I think Jacksonville's going to get beat, even though they're 2-9. I think this tells me something that you're going to have to continue building around Trevor Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. Going with the Rams, too. Washington Raiders. Who are you going with? This is going to be an interesting game.
It is going to be an interesting game, but I'm going to pick the Raiders to win this game.
I'm going to go. Heineke lives on another great week. Going with Washington. Going to 6-6. Ravens Steelers. Who are you going with?
I am going with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, Pittsburgh's done. Ben Roethlisberger, I think he's probably going to be retiring after this season.
Baltimore has kind of not impressed me the last couple of weeks. I think Pittsburgh, TJ Watt coming back, Minka Fitzpatrick's back. I think they want to buy their defense. Give me Pittsburgh in this one. Niners, Seahawks. Who are you going with?
Seattle. I want to see Russell Wilson get out of this losing streak, and I want to see them get back into this NFC race, and that they want to. And I could see them still trying to peak at the right time for a playoff spot.
Gonna go with 49ers. I've said Seahawks last couple of weeks in terms of Russ coming out party. They have a lot of issues. So I'm going to keep 49ers at this pick. Broncos, Chiefs. Who are you going with? Sunday Night Football.
I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, Denver's played really good football lately. I mean, they've surprised me in so many ways, but at the same time, Denver, I even thought that after that 3-0 start, they were just going to fall out flat. But Teddy Bridgewater continues to keep the Broncos into the race in this very tough AFC West.
Definitely. I'm going to go with the Chiefs here, too. Denver has been a great surprising story this year. Good young defense. But I can't trust their quarterback situation, especially on a Sunday night in Arrowhead. And to finish off our quick speedy picks, which I really like right now. It's been a lot of fun. Kind of go boom, boom, boom. Is the game that we always wanted to see. Patriots Bills 8-4 against 7-4. Battle of the AFC's 2 teams up the top. Who are you going with?
I am going with the New England Patriots, and I say that I just think I want to continue riding with a hot team, and I think if they win, great. If they lose, that's okay, because I feel like that if you lose in Buffalo, I really think that the Patriots will find a way to beat the Bills at home the next time these two teams meet.
All right, Loro. Well, what we're going to do for the Speedy Picks from now to the rest of the season is after each show, you're going to send me your picks, and I'm going to send you my picks. And we're going to kind of tally in terms of week by week who gets the most between the two. If we have the same team, then we'll each get a point, but we'll start tallying it up and kind of seeing as like a little fun little game to finish off the season, our picks. So,
Yeah, Speedy Picks is fun. That's a good idea, actually. So,
yeah.
anyways, our next show will be on Tuesday when we kind of recap our assessment of the Patriots' first 13 games of the season, and then Speedy Picks will be coming up for this next week as well.
Let's do it, man. All righty. You take care, all right? Have a good one.
Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep, definitely.